Lately, I've been thinking about how we keep chasing things that were never outside of us in the first place. It's wild when you realize that the entire time you thought you were missing something. Love, validation, attention, a specific person. All that was ever missing was your recognition of who you truly are. Because nothing is actually outside of you. There is no external barrier between you and what you desire. There's only your identification, who you believe yourself to be in this moment. Everything else is just a reflection of that belief. You see, we spend so much time trying to get something instead of realizing we only ever experience what we are identifying as. You don't attract love, you experience the version of reality where you are already loved. You don't chase relationships, you move through the world as someone who knows they're chosen, valued, and adored. The shift isn't in effort, it's in identity. And here's the hook that might sting a little. You're not waiting on them, you're waiting on you, the version of you who already knows this is done, who already knows everything is within. The identity you're currently holding is what manifests, not your wishes, not your affirmations, and definitely not your endless checking of the 3D world. None of that causes anything. It just reveals where your awareness is anchored. So let me ask you, who are you being when you think about your person? Are you being someone who knows love is natural to her, that affection is her baseline, that being cherished is her normal? Or are you being the old self who's still trying to make them see her worth, still observing reality like it has power over her, still hoping something will change? Because here's the truth. It's not about them. It never was. It's about who you've decided to be in relation to them. When you say, he's ignoring me, she's cold, they pulled away, what you're really describing isn't the person, it's your current self-concept mirrored back to you. Awareness simply shows you who you believe you are right now. That's what the 3D world does. It can't do anything else. And I know some part of you might resist that because the ego loves pointing outward. It's easier to say they're unavailable than to ask, who am I being that keeps identifying with unavailability? But that's where the power is. Because the second you stop seeing the reflection as proof and start seeing it as feedback, that's when transformation begins. Think of awareness like light shining through glass. The glass doesn't make the light better or worse, it only colors it. Your identity is that glass. If you identify as someone who is desired, loved, chosen, appreciated, that's what the light projects. But if you identify as someone who is waiting, lacking, or unworthy, that's what gets mirrored back too. Not as punishment, just as a reflection. What manifestation really is a shift in identification. You could call it a quantum jump, or state change, or embodying the version, but at its core, it's all the same thing. Awareness, choosing a new identity to express through. Nothing is being created. Nothing is brought from out there. Everything already exists, every possible version of reality, every possible version of you, every possible version of your person. The only thing that ever changes is who you're being right now. Awareness shifts, and the reflection follows. You are not a separate person trying to reach enlightenment or attract love. You are awareness itself, appearing as a person, playing the game of beliefs. And let me tell you when this really lands. Manifestation becomes effortless because there's no how or when anymore. When you know yourself as the source of experience, timing stops being a concern. You stop asking, is it coming? Because who would it be coming to? It's already here, it's just waiting for you to see through the new lens. I remember the moment I realized this hasn't been about my person or any SP technique or 3D circumstances. It was entirely about who I thought I was. I had been identifying as someone trying to attract love instead of being love itself. Everything I did, every affirmation, every visualization still came from lack because deep down, I didn't feel like the one love flows through naturally. That version of me was constantly checking the 3D, constantly wondering, is it working? Constantly measuring progress. And you know what? Waiting is an identity. Hoping is an identity. Searching is an identity. Each one confirms separation. And awareness, being so pure, can only reflect what it identifies with. But the moment you anchor into the knowing that you are the awareness observing thought, body, and emotion, everything softens. You stop trying to manage outcomes and start witnessing how life orchestrates itself perfectly the moment you stop standing in your own way. Because really, your person was never withholding anything. Your circumstances were never blocking anything. Those were all mirrors of a singular belief that reality was something you had to chase. You don't have to chase what you already are. That's why it feels so peaceful when you shift inward. You're not surrendering to some higher power outside of you. You're surrendering to yourself. Let's talk about relationships for a second, because this is where it gets really interesting. When your self-concept shifts, your entire world has to including the version of your person. The mistake people make is holding on to the new me while still seeing others as versions from the old story. You can't step into your higher self while still expecting the old character cast to behave the same way. When I finally chose to see myself as the one who is loved, who is valued, who is adored, I realized I couldn't hold the version of him who ignored me. That version existed only in the old story. The new me had no energetic match for that. So it wasn't about letting go of him or forcing anything to change. It was about updating the narrative. If I am love, he cannot be indifference. They can't coexist. And that's when it clicked deeper. What we call movement isn't always visible in the 3D. It's internal confirmation. The mirror takes a moment to catch up, but the moment you see differently, reality starts responding. That's why sometimes you'll notice little signs, perfect alignments, or what looks like coincidences. Those aren't random. Those are awareness showing you that the new identity is already active. And no, you don't have to try to make them happen. They unfold naturally. Like when every delay, every change in direction, every random choice somehow lines up perfectly, reminding you that you never had to plan it. Life is the plan. When awareness identifies as it is done, everything aligns with that knowing. You don't make it happen. The character doesn't do manifestation. Awareness simply is it. That's why over-efforting feels exhausting, because the one who's trying doesn't realize it's the doer appearing to itself. Awareness can't chase itself. It can only notice that it's been pretending to. So now, ask yourself, where do you see separation? Where are you still making them? Time or the process seem like something outside of you. Because nothing exists outside of you. The person you want, the love story you dream of, the version of you who's calm, secure, and radiant, all of that already exists now. The 3D, the so-called outside world, is only showing you what awareness has chosen to be aware as. That's it. So stop arguing with your reflection. Stop searching for proof. You are the proof. When you stop trying to convince the mirror to change and instead become the one who already is the change, the mirror has no choice but to show it. And listen, this doesn't mean you suppress emotions or pretend you never doubt anything ever again. It just means you stop identifying with the one who doubts. You can observe the thought, I feel anxious, without becoming the anxious one. You can see the emotion of missing someone without slipping back into the one who waits. That right there, that tiny gap between awareness and identification, is freedom. From that space, things start feeling less like effort and more like flow. You become peaceful even before anything physical shifts, because you finally stop attaching your peace to evidence. And ironically, that peace is the magnet. The reflection can't resist it. Because when you are awareness resting as love, love must appear. There's no negotiation, no delay, no luck involved. It's not manifestation anymore, it's recognition. Recognition of what's always been here. That's why the most powerful form of alignment isn't trying harder, it's deciding. Decide who you are. Decide what version of reality belongs to that identity. And refuse to keep identifying with the old one. That's it. That's the magic formula no one tells you about. I am is the only cause. Everything else is effect. So when you catch yourself looking outside, waiting for them to text, waiting for circumstances to shift, waiting for life to validate, you remind yourself, I'm not waiting for something to change, I'm remembering who I am. You are awareness. You are love expressing itself as form. You were never unworthy, never lacking, never behind. Those were just stories awareness briefly played out through, but now you can pick something new. And you don't build identity, you select it. The moment you declare, this is who I am now, and stop contradicting that with your thoughts, reactions, and old narratives, reality will conform. It always does. Not because you forced it to, but because there is no it apart from you. So stop managing time. Stop chasing signs. Stop watching the mirror. Everything you want is already yours. All it takes is the quiet courage to no longer identify as the one who doesn't have it. Nothing is outside of you. Nothing is coming. Everything already is. I hope this helped you. I will meet you with another video soon. Happy manifesting.